delusional. Apply, start, create, try. Because one day the life you imagined might stop being an imagination and become your reality. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today we'll talk about a very special topic. What if the thing that everyone calls delusional is the first step towards changing your life? What if that business succeeds? What if you get into that university? What if you create that content, launch that business, ask that person out, take the risk, and it actually works out? For some reason, people keep imagining all the things that could go wrong. They spend hours calculating the risks, thinking what could go wrong, and in the end, they end up not doing the thing at all. But very few people spend time imagining everything that could go right. We have been taught to be realistic, to lower expectations, to avoid disappointment, to prepare for failure. And while practical is important, it has its own place. Many people turn realism into a prison that they can never get out of. Before they even start, they have convinced themselves that the outcomes won't even work. The application gets rejected in their head before it's submitted. The business fails before it's launched, and the dream dies even before it got a chance to breathe. So today I want to ask a different question. What if it actually works out? Think about this. When you imagine the worst case scenario, nobody tells you that that is delusional. You tell yourself, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I lose money? What if I'm not good enough? And somehow, these stories feel logical, even though they are still stories. They are a prediction of a future that hasn't even happened yet. And yet, you feel that that is a more likely outcome, even though you're imagining these events with no evidence. So I think that is not realism. That is a negative imagination. If your mind is allowed to invent disasters, why is it not allowed to invent possibilities? Why can't you ask, what if people love what I create? What if this decision changes my life? What if I'm more capable than I think? Both the worst and the best case scenario are guesses. The only difference is one gives you the energy, the other steals it. Every major achievement sounds ridiculous until it becomes a reality. I mean, think of the Wright brothers. What if they would have thought that flying is ridiculous? Humans can never fly, and the plane would have never been invented. What if Thomas Edison would have thought, we humans can't see at night, let's just leave it that way? The light bulb wouldn't have come to existence. So you see, it sounds ridiculous until it becomes a reality. A teenager saying they'll become a millionaire someday, an unknown athlete saying they'll become a world champion, a founder starting a company from a bedroom, or even a creator with 10 subscribers saying they will reach millions. Most big accomplishments begin as ideas that seem unrealistic at first. The difference is that some people leave their project to think that that is realistic, while others keep going anyway. Not because they had proof, but because they had the belief. Belief isn't evidence, it is the willingness to act before evidence even appears. The results come later, the confidence comes later, the validation comes way later. The thing that comes first is the belief, the decision to move, to keep going, no matter what the circumstances might be. And that's, my friends, how you change your fate. Now here's the secret. The phrase, what if it works out, does not guarantee success, but what it guarantees is that it's going to change your behavior. When you believe something is possible, you apply your skills, you practice, you show up, you take another shot even after facing rejection, and ultimately you stay in the game longer. And often success belongs to people who refuse to quit. Not because they were more talented or because they were the most smartest, but because they gave themselves the permission to believe, even after everything was stacked against the odds in their lives. Now let's be clear. Being delusional does not mean ignoring reality. It does not mean pretending problems don't exist. It does not mean guaranteed success without any possible effort. Real optimism says, I know this is going to be hard. I know I might fail, but I'm going to act as if success is possible. That's very different from fantasy. Fantasy dreams, belief works. Fantasy waits, belief builds. Fantasy hopes, belief executes. The goal isn't to disconnect from reality. The goal is not letting fear affect your reality. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. You took the risk, you stayed consistent, you put in all the efforts, you kept learning, you survived the setbacks, you made progress that nobody ever thought was possible. Now imagine meeting that version of you 5 years later. What would they say? What would they think about you? Would they thank you for playing small? Would they thank you for doubting yourself? For quitting the game? For quitting early? Probably not. Because if you did that, this successful version of you wouldn't even exist 5 years later. Instead, they would thank you for trying, for starting before you even felt ready, for starting even before you had proof. Because every extraordinary life begins with the decision to challenge the ordinary thinking, a decision that looks unreasonable, ridiculous, delusional. So here's the challenge. For the next few weeks, every time your mind says, "What if I fail?" answer with, "What if it works out?" Not because success is guaranteed, but because possibility deserves a voice too. You've listened to fear enough. Give hope an equal chance too. The truth is, nobody knows what your future holds. Not your critics, not your friends, not even you yourself. So if you're going to make predictions anyway, why not choose the one that moves you forward? Be delusional. Apply, start, create, try. Because one day, the life you imagined might stop being an imagination and become your reality. What if it actually works out? 5 years ago from now, I would have never thought, even imagined, that I would get a $13,000 scholarship to study in New York City. I wouldn't have thought that I could have even bought an iPhone. I wouldn't ever believe that I would get to travel so much across the country, let alone big cities like Mumbai or Delhi. I never even thought I would get out of this small hometown. It was delusional to think that, given the circumstances I come from, but I did it anyway. And even though I might not be the most successful person, I have achieved things because I was delusional enough that some people in my family never thought I could do it. So yeah, that's my little version of the delusional reality that I made possible because I believed in myself that the outcomes had to be true. So yeah, stay delusional. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.